Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
To the hip hop, the hippie to the hippie, the hip hip, the hopper, you don't stop. Rock it to the bang, bang the boogie, say up, jump the boogie to the rhythm of the boogie beat. Well, skittle bebop, we rock a Scooby Doo. And guess what, America, we love you.
Get started.
No, I don't want to do anything. Shut up.
You never do anything. You should always shut up.
I always
is what my wife tells me.
And your mother, oddly enough, and every other female you ever run into.
Pretty much sisters, cousins, girlfriends. That one boyfriend I had in college when I was experimenting. Anyhow, this is We Should Be Better at This. I am Eric Leckie, also known as, AKA is what that also stands for, Sinatra's Rat Pack on Twitter.
Yeah, that's what he's known for by two people. He's known by Sinatra's Rat Pack by you and that other guy that has Sinatra's Rat Pack 69.
Yes, 69.
You can follow
Who
me.
might you be?
I'm Chris _Donovan, and underscore is now my official middle name.
Very good. Very good.
You can follow me.
It sure beats Bastard Child, which was the original middle name you had.
Yeah, I know, but our dad was kind of a jerk. All right. Oh, my phone just went off. Okay, so we're recording right now, and it's 2/20/20.
It's quite a significant date. I don't care about any of this stuff because I think dates on a calendar are something we all just made up anyways. I mean, it's not like, I don't know, the universe is like today is, it's literally just we came up with a calendar for some reason. Certain days have certain amount of days in the month and all that kind of crazy stuff. I don't know. I never buy much into it, but some people go nuts over this stuff.
Yeah, no, it's just a way for us to feel more secure about not knowing what the hell we're doing here on this planet.
My daughter, Audrey, she said, she goes, Dad, we are living in an amazing time. Did you know? And then she starts rattling off facts about certain dates. I think there was another one of these like, maybe it was February 2nd where it was like 02/02/2020. This is the only time this is going to happen for 150 years. We will never be alive for the next time this happens. But she was literally like, we are living in amazing times. I'm like, wow, this is all it takes, huh?
How old is she?
13.
You know what's funny is when I was 11, I had a similar incident. My mother, it was 1989. So if you want to do the math, my mom's standing there, and I want to say it was like 12:34 and 56 seconds on July 8th. 98 or whatever the hell, 89 or however it worked out. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I was fascinated by it when I was 11 years old.
You know what's funny? I remember. Wow, that's funny. I remember that exact moment because I remember that was a news story then. I remember everybody today at 12, at 12:56 or whatever it was, p.m. On this date. It will be exactly 1, 2. I actually remember that moment. That's funny.
Yeah, I
your
remember.
Mom did that to you.
Yeah, I want to say it was 1:23 on like March 4th. Or no, 1:23,
April
45th, 6th, 7th. Yeah, so that's what it was.
8, 9.
Yeah, it was 1:23 with 45 seconds. And then it was on June 7th, 89.
89. Yeah, something like that. Exactly. Yeah, I remember that being a news story. But it is funny there's so many things that are really important to cover in the world, and it always bugs me when the news is like, and today on the lighter side of the news, a squirrel riding a jet ski, Hey, this special date it's National Tomato Day, everybody, and we sent Stephanie Galanakis out there to see what the people think. Stephanie, well, today I'm asking people on the street how they're celebrating Tomato Day. Sir, your response? Tomatoes are great fruit. Yeah. I mean, like everything.
I'm just trying to play catch up.
And that's why he's paid the big bucks, folks. That's that right there.
No, I wish
good.
You know what?
That's
I wish
good.
the news was opposite. I actually wish all the stories were about squirrels climbing trees and flashing people while they drive by, rather than every story being in a school shooting today, and in the mall over here a ceiling fell.
What about, business idea, patent pending, no one can copy it, trademarked with a T with a little circle around it. It's official now.
They're hearing this on the internet, so everything on the internet's real.
Damn
so
it.
Keep going.
Damn it. Why not start a full-on news organization where the goal is we will never report a serious news story? Like, that's like your tagline. And all you do is – and you're not sitting there only doing joke stories, but it's also just like the lighter side of the news. We will never report on an election. We won't report on an earthquake that triggered a tsunami. We won't report on the school shooting. This is where you turn to for spots about, do dogs help elderly people with dementia? Let's watch this old man cuddle with this kitten and this dog and whatever. Like, it's always going to be stories like that. And we'll put it out there as a video podcast, and then hopefully it gets picked up by the networks, and we'll just call it the Good News Network, GNN.
GNN. I'll put that down. Good News Network.
Patent pending.
I was thinking of a story that could go on there, like, are peacocks really comfort animals?
And do they? A peacock is neither a pea nor a cock. Discuss. And that'll be like our hard-hitting like news. Today we have a people from both sides of the article. Sir, you're from the peanut organization. Ma'am, you are here representing people with peanut allergies. Now, controversial subject. A peanut is neither a pea nor a nut. Sir, you care to respond? Like, that's going to be like literally every single segment. And you'll shoot it like it's a serious news show. Like, you'll have the desk, the video behind you, and you will not at any point ever discuss anything that is serious or a newsworthy event. Like, when on the side of our news vans that go down the freeway, it'll say GNN Network. When news happens, we run in the opposite direction.
or for cuteness, follow me.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I think it's a great idea because you know what? People like my mother who can't stand to watch the news anymore because she says that same thing. She goes, listen, I don't like watching the news and hearing about how everything is horrible. Yeah. And that's the whole news. She even said she wishes there was like a good news channel. I think we start GNN, and I don't know about you. I'm going to go out and start spending my money immediately because that's going to be a success.
It is. And
I'm ordering something on Amazon now.
Oh, I already bought the Lamborghini. What are you talking about?
Oh. Why don't we you know what? I was going to buy a Ferrari. I'll do a Lamborghini too so that we can be matchy. But yeah, I think that's a brilliant idea.
Man, goodnewsnetwork.org. Better return that Lamborghini.
Oh, no. All right. Can I at least get a Porsche?
In California, no. But if you live in Montana,
no.
Sure.
Yeah, hey, by the way, your song that you played up front, I don't know the name of I don't know the name of it, but it's the one that, Hotel, Motel, Holiday Inn.
Say what?
Which is always appropriate. You always play a song that has to do with what we're going to talk about. We want to talk about checking into hotels. So I'm a frequent business traveler. I literally just returned from beautiful San Diego, as Ron Burgundy would say. And I was checking into a hotel, and sometimes my company's too cheap to pay for a good hotel, so I stay in some pretty shitty hotels sometimes. And as I was checking into this hotel,
they're called motels.
Yeah, exactly. They're called motor lodges. So when you see a lot of truckers in the parking lot, and it's like a trucker's hotel, you know it's not a good hotel. So when you're checking in, do you have a certain process you go through? Are you a man of routine? So, for instance, when I check into a hotel, first thing I do, I get in and I turn on the air conditioner like almost full blast. Like, I want that room to have icicles hanging from it. But, do you put away the clothes, or are you a clothes out of the suitcase guy? Do you turn on the TV, or do you go, I don't want this TV on the entire time I'm here? Like, what do you connect to the Wi-Fi right away? Like, what is your kind of hotel routine?
Well, when I go into a hotel, depending on who I'm with, if I'm with my family, It's get in the room, and what I'll do is I'll make sure that everything's put in closets and stuff. It's just not out because eventually my kids are going to throw shit everywhere and it's going to be crazy, which is fine. But at first, I like to get it all away, and then I'll put some of my stuff in the drawer. I always tag the end table drawer that has that I put my wallet, my phone, and everything goes in there. That's important. And then I take my pants off, and then I walk around the hotel with no pants on.
Oh, I'm a no pants guy myself. As soon as I get in a hotel, I have a strict no pants in a hotel room policy.
Oh,
it's like, even with my kids, I'm like, I'm in a hotel. Dad, can you put on pants? I'm in a hotel room. Can you not see?
Yeah, this is like
when I leave the hotel room, I will put on pants if I feel like it.
This is American state law.
Well, so you're definitely a put clothes away kind of guy. Now, what if you're in that hotel for just one night? Are you a put everything away, or do you just go, screw it, let's just get it out of the suitcase and that kind of thing?
I'd tell you, but I'm usually not sober enough to remember. But no, one night I'm not doing anything.
Yeah. What about so staying at the places with all the expensive stuff in the mini fridge and all that? Have you ever accidentally opened something or in a moment of weakness opened something and then been so desperate not to get charged you drove down to the liquor store to buy a replacement to put it back in there?
No, I don't have your problem. I'm not an alcoholic like you, apparently.
No, what's funny is I actually don't mind if I take the booze because for some reason I can justify it. But when I grab that bottle of water and I chug it because I'm like, God, I just, I didn't have any water all day and I'm finally back in my hotel room and I'm thirsty and there's nothing and I don't feel like going out again. And I guzzle that water and I look and I'm like, $7 for this water. I'll literally go, listen, there's a liquor store across the street. I'm going to go walk over there. I'm going to buy a bottle and put it back in this refrigerator so I don't get charged.
Here's the problem. You're going to buy a bigger bottle of water and they're going to be like, oh, that's not actually the same bottle. So they're going to charge you double. The removal fee of the bigger bottle of water. You'd think they'd
be like, hey, thanks for the bigger water. Yeah. I'll tell you one of the coolest ones we went to is when we went to Cabo San Lucas and we got into our hotel room.
Ooh.
They when we walked in on the dining room table, they had a bottle of tequila, bottle of vodka, bottle of rum, and bottle of whiskey, and they were all upside down in this contraption that would dispense the alcohol directly into your cup, like you push a button and whatever. And that was and there was just a big sign that said, "Don't be afraid of using this. It's free."
Wow.
And I even took a picture of me sitting next to the sign. I'm like this is literally the happiest thing that could happen on this vacation. Getting teary-eyed.
You're like, it's all starting off right. And then day 3, it's empty, and you're like,
well, the kids are like, hey, so should we go out and visit this water park or let's go to the beach? It's like, no, Dad is fine right here.
This was my whole vacation planned. The one time
I only booked this place because they said free booze in the hotel room.
One time we did go to Mazatlan, and it's a third world country-ish, very different from where we are. The whole family went. We were in the room. They only have a small, tiny little market, and by small, tiny little market, I mean like a trailer with a couple refrigerators in it with certain types of food, and as American as they could get, but there was always lack of beer. There was no cases of beer. It was always 6-packs. So every time I left the bar at night, it would be like, hey, can I get 6 beers to go?
Hey, you just mentioned third world country, and it got me thinking, how come you never hear second world country? You hear first world country problems. You hear first, all that kind of stuff. Rich people problems. You hear third world country. Poor. You never hear, oh, man, that's a second world country.
That's because I think it's been dwelled down to just middle class. No, I'm just kidding. I have no idea.
I mean, and by the way, what country would you nominate as a second world country? Like in the whole entire world, obviously, I'd say USA is a first world. Even Canada is probably a first world country because they don't have as many problems.
Yeah.
You have a lot of poorer countries that are third world. What's a second world country?
I'd say like Vietnam. Korea,
maybe like Thailand or something where they're doing all right, but they're not exactly like thriving.
Like Hungary, all those ones that everybody ignores. Like Italy would probably be second world country. I wouldn't say there'd be a first world. What the hell's the saying again? I'm so lost right now. What happened?
Well, there's first world countries, which is like the United States and Britain and France and all that kind of stuff. And then there's third world countries, but you never, which is like the countries that the kids have flies landing on them, and we send our like $1 a day to feed the kids kind of thing. You see them in commercials. Feed the world. So all of those countries, but you never hear about second world countries. I bet you, here's my theory. I think there's actually a second world continent, and that's Australia.
You think that?
Yeah.
I don't know. I would say I would say it's not said because then that makes people sound like they're not worth anything. I have
Well,
no
if you're
idea.
a second world country, are you like rooting for your country to get to number one, or do you hope you go down to a 3 so that you can kind of like reset, get a bunch of free money because everyone donates to those countries and they get a bunch of financial aid and everything like that? It's almost like being in the middle class. Like we're definitely too rich to be poor and definitely too poor to be rich. I mean, if I'm applying for scholarships for my wife at college, she's going back to school. It's like, well, we can't afford it, so we need a scholarship. And then the scholarship goes, nope, you make too much money to qualify for the scholarship. It's like, great, we make not enough money to pay for school, but too much money to get the money that pays for school. Same kind of thing with like a second world country. Like, we're doing all right, I guess.
Yeah, no, I agree. Or they're just content. They're like, oh, we like the color silver, and we'll just sit right here and be in second. No, joke didn't work. Okay.
No.
Do you think they go to the Olympics in second place instantly?
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. And end of that one. Hey, I want to actually ask you some questions. I know that I've listened to Evelyn do some updates on her show. And we've talked about it before, but the coronavirus, as I'm looking at updates, you and I talked about before how you can't really trust anything that comes out of China. I mean, they're notorious for not necessarily being upfront and honest with their policies or with news coming out of the country, and they don't want anything to reflect bad on them and all that kind of stuff. And I even told you, I said, what worries me is that they can't hide the truth anymore. Like that's the scariest thing when even China's like, yeah, it's not going great over here. So now they're seeing cases bust out in Korea. They're saying cases are surging in South Korea and Japan. There was that cruise ship that was just going to Japan. Yeah. And one person gets sick on board, and then a bunch of people got sick on board, and they had to quarantine the whole ship. And I mean, this is kind of scary stuff. I don't know. Have you seen the videos of them going through the neighborhoods and spraying entire neighborhoods with this like fog of poison?
No, I think we covered this earlier. I don't watch the news. No, I'm just kidding. I have not seen that though. I am looking on the news right now, and it's popping up everywhere. It's even saying that like some coronavirus people are going to be put in Spokane, Washington for a while or something. So it's popping up everywhere, and they're even saying that it's more like a flu when it spreads rather than SARS like they thought before.
Right, which is scary when they still haven't even 100% figured out how everything is being transmitted or where it's coming from. Mm-hmm. I mean, you would love for them to say, it's like when they're fighting a fire, which we're all familiar with here in Southern California. You always hear it's 5% contained, and you're just saying, oh shit, that means we're still in trouble. But when they say, oh, it's like 75% contained, it literally becomes a non-news story. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, okay, well that's over. And that's kind of how I feel about the coronavirus. Like right now, they're basically like, okay, guys, we have this 5% contained. And okay, I would really hope that you were coming out saying everything's under control. It's going great. Cases are dropping. We're no longer having this problem.
Yeah, no, I think that they're not reporting a lot until they know a little more. But you're right. I don't feel comfortable with this everywhere, especially since they've landed the first the constituents from Japan just down the street from me in Riverside here in California.
I heard, yeah, March Air Force Base, right, is where they came in at.
Yeah, literally, I hear and see aircraft or giant aircrafts every time, like doing training scenarios and stuff over my house. That's how close they are.
So what if someone who has the coronavirus throws up in the toilet on the plane, and then they do that flush thing as it's going over your house? Do you get the coronavirus?
No, because I'm in Riverside. But if I lived in Corona, maybe.
Oddly enough, Riverside is not by the side of a river. I just got to say that. That's just such a false name.
Sure,
it's like the city of Fountain Valley, California. There's not a damn fountain in that whole city, and there's no valley there.
It's all based around the LA River.
Hawaiian Gardens is not a Hawaiian garden.
No, but there's flowers growing in the LA River there. So they just kind of pick up the elements that are in the LA River. Right here, it's kind of like a river. It's not really a concrete bed. It's actually dirt. So that's why they call it Riverside. I have no idea. I'm making this all up. Does it sound good?
It sounded great.
I have one quick question, and I don't know if you told me this, but I think I might have stolen it from you. But what's the best thing that goes with the coronavirus?
Lyme disease.
That a kid.
It's such a good question actually on that. How much do you think, and this is a serious question, let's put a number on this. How much do you think the Corona beer would pay to make this name change and go away. Like if they could write a check right now for $100 million for this virus to be called the Modelo virus or the Dos Equis virus, like how much would, because I'm in the industry, that's literally what I do for a living is alcohol, and almost daily I get a daily rundown of articles within my industry, and daily there is an article where people with Corona beer are frustrated, and how they're talking about how this is really hurting their sales because people are so stupid that they only equate it to coronavirus. They said, and this is not a joke, that the Corona hotline, which you can call, is actually getting calls with people asking questions like, by drinking Corona, can I get the coronavirus? That shows you how stupid people are. But like I said, would Corona write a check right now for $100 million to change the name?
I think they would. And I think they'd probably want to like drop it over onto Dos Equis and make it the most interesting flu in the
virus in the world. Interessante. I do think that they would pay a lot of money to get rid of it because it really is hurting their sales. And you got to remember, if their sales even dip by 1%, that's like $100 million.
You know what?
And
what
if this coronavirus continues to get worse? What if this coronavirus is like a thing where it's a news story for a lot of 2020 and a million people die? I mean, I don't know. Like, it could be really serious. They still talk about the Spanish flu of 1919 and 1919. And that wasn't even really from Spain. It was the newspapers labeled it the Spanish flu, which wasn't true, had nothing to do with Spain. But then everyone started saying, ooh, Spain, that's the place where you got the flu from. And it killed like a third of the world's population.
Yeah.
And to this day, everyone thinks of it as the Spanish flu. It had nothing to do with Spain. 30 years from now, when their kids are reading it in a textbook in college or what have you, and it's like the coronavirus, they're still going to remember it as Corona. And so that's why I'm saying, like, for a long-term purposes, Corona might even be like, you know what, screw it. $300 million. We're going to name this the Bud Light virus.
They could probably do some sort of social push to try to change it on their own without spending that much money. I mean, still, it's going to cost them a lot to put people in those positions to make all that happen. But if they did a really complex, smart push and used it to their advantage, I think they could get away with it. But things that I've heard about this virus in places is that, like, Corona, California, people are afraid, and the housing values going down there because of this virus is called the coronavirus because people are so that stupid.
Oh my God, so stupid. Which, by the way, you know what, I'd be sitting there saying, good, because then I'm going to buy property in Corona when it bottoms out and then let the price come back up. Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. So, but I don't think I have the virus, but everybody in my house is sick. So maybe this is why we're recording remotely.
Oh, so this will be our final podcast. Excellent. Well, join us next week when the podcast will take place at Chris's funeral.
It's called We Should Be More Alive. It's going to convert.
We should be better at this. Living edition.
Beyond the grave.
Yeah. Hey, I was going to tell you something else. I'm heading out on a business trip to Arizona in about 2 weeks, and I purposely scheduled the trip so that I can go to a spring training game. Okay. I mean, I have to do the trip for other reasons, but I picked those particular days so I could do spring training. And then I bought tickets I'm going to a game, and it's a day game. I'm flying in for business, and I'm going to get as much work done as I can in the morning when I fly in, and I'm going to a day game. And I was stupid enough in my excitement, because I haven't been to spring training in a couple of years. In my excitement, I bought tickets right behind home plate. So now I set myself up for this possible problem.
Yeah,
that someone from my work is going to be. I'm going to be on TV at like a 1 p.m. spring training game in Arizona, and it's just. Listen, I work around a lot of Dodger fans, so the odds of them watching an Angels spring training game when they should be working also is very, very slim. But there's still that slight chance that someone is going to be like, wait a minute, is that he's supposed to be like it's the middle of a workday. Like, what is he doing in Arizona at a spring training game? So we'll see how that goes.
I've got one thing that I can guarantee you'll get in trouble and get caught. Are they playing Houston?
No, luckily.
Yeah,
yeah.
then you
good
might be
point.
all right.
Excellent point. That would have been because now I just got to not do anything stupid like get so drunk that I like fall down and at Sports Center, or like a foul ball comes and like hits me in the face, or like as long as nothing embarrassing happens, I think that my chances of escaping on this one is going to be pretty good. But there is that I'm going to the whole time I'm going to wear like my hat really low over my face, and I'm going to wear sunglasses, and maybe I'll even grow a mustache. I don't know. I'll wear a fake mustache.
What day is this again?
Oh, it's on a Wednesday at 1 p.m. in the afternoon in Arizona.
Like the 4th or 11th, or what's it coming up? Because I might
It's
drive.
the 11th.
I might drive over to go watch it with you.
Yeah, it's March 11th in Tempe, Arizona, and I fly in that morning at 8 a.m. and I'm gonna get a bunch of work done in the area, and then head to the game, and then after the game go out to a fancy dinner and all that. So
maybe I
we'll
will
see
join
how
you
that
then.
works out.
I could use a fancy dinner.
You could use a fancy dinner.
I'm inviting myself
hey,
to your freaking business trip.
Hey, I say the more the merrier. I wanted to ask you another question as two people who pay a lot of attention to not only pop culture, but Disney and everything Disney's doing, all that.
Yeah.
So you heard that they're having a Disney night, a Star Wars night at Disneyland. I don't know if you heard that, right?
I actually got an email about it today because I bought my Star Wars Celebration tickets last year. That's happening this August, and it's around that same time, and I get pre-sale tickets.
So I was reading an article this morning. It says Disney just announced that tickets are on sale for their newest Disney After Dark event, a Star Wars themed evening, which sounds awesome. I mean, I mean, count me in.
Yeah.
Count me in. But I'm reading from the article, but should the $100 plus price tag include rides on the newest state-of-the-art attraction, Star Wars Rise of the Resistance? The answer is no. So
what?
Yes. So here's the thing. You buy tickets to that event, and it does not include the ability to ride the new ride that everyone wants to ride. How crazy is that?
Why not? That doesn't make any sense. Like, why wouldn't they have that ready for Star Wars Celebration that happens across the street the same weekend that Disney has?
Exactly. It says tickets for the one night only August 27th event at Disneyland After Dark Star Wars Night have gone on sale this week, but annual pass holders were eager to purchase their discounted tickets because it's already sold out.
Yeah.
Upon further investigation into the event's offerings, it looks like Disneyland won't be allowing guests at Star Wars Night to ride the Star Wars ride after hours. Why? Well, Rise of the Resistance is still on boarding groups, a virtual queue system, so it's possible that Disneyland wouldn't want it to accommodate guests after hours using boarding groups or not. The reasoning Disney gave on the official website states, Star Wars Rise of the Resistance will not.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Not be available during this event due to standard required maintenance. You're telling me that they couldn't do maintenance any other day. They pick a day where they're having a Star Wars night and people are paying pretty good money to come there and celebrate Star Wars. And they're like, sorry, everything Star Wars is closed.
You know what they're doing this for, right? Because they want them to buy tickets to the daytime and then have to rebuy tickets to the Star Wars thing at night. So they can
Which
ride
a lot
the
of
Star
people
Wars.
might do.
They're going to do that. Disney's going to take
a lot
all
of people
the
are going to
money.
be coming to town for this.
Yeah.
They're going to come to town. They're like, hey, we bought this thing. We're doing it at nighttime, and so we're going to go ahead and go to Disneyland during the day.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Star Wars Celebration's a big deal. Last time it was in London. Before that, Chicago. It was in Anaheim a couple years back. We went, so we're all going. And the fact that they are going to do that to everybody is so bunk.
That's so stupid. I know. It says th're going to have a galactic dance party. They're going to have character encounters, Star Wars themed fireworks, strike a pose for photo opportunities. You're going to listen to tunes from Batu in the Star Wars groove playing throughout the night. Themed eating. They have all this cool stuff. Limited release merchandise. It says after hours access to attractions except Star Wars Rise of the Resistance.
That's so ridiculous. That's so ridiculous.
Man. Oh my goodness. So that was kind of my Star Wars news. I don't know about you, but it's been a while since we've played Rotten Tomatoes game, and I would like to play some Rotten Tomatoes game.
Oh, hooray for Hollywood. It's really got me. Hooray, 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 hooray for Hollywood.
right, what do we got?
All right, everybody, this is Rotten Tomatoes Game. This is where we pick the critics' scores, not the audience score. The critics' scores, we try and get as close as possible. Going over doesn't matter. It's just how close we are points-wise. I will depend on you to maybe keep track of the points on this one.
Yep, you got it.
All right, since I screwed it up the last few times. All right, today's theme for Rotten Tomatoes Game.
You mean every time?
Yeah, okay, every time. Listen, we should be better at this. There's a reason the show's named that. I want to celebrate a great man who has made if you really go down his movie list of accomplishments here, he puts out a lot of really good movies, and today is his birthday. So I would like to do a Rotten Tomatoes themed game with Jeff Daniels movies. What is your favorite Jeff Daniels movie?
Dumb and Dumber's up there.
That one's just like fun. Listen, I know it's stupid, and I did not pick it, so we can talk about it. So it's not one of the ones I picked. It's just fun. Like it was kind of back when, it reminds me of a lot of those Jim Carrey movies where if you go back and watch Ace Ventura, Pet Detective or whatever, it's like this movie is stupid. It's stupid plot, stupid acting, stupid everything. But guess what? It's also enjoyable and totally watchable. And that's how Dumb and Dumber is. And Jeff Daniels was like just funny as hell in that.
Yeah, and the thing about him in that role is that's so far from what he usually does or did. So it was nice.
He was all drama at the time. Yeah. He didn't do that many comedies up until that point.
It was nice to see him just let go and do it. And that movie is one of my favorites of all time. So I love it. So.
Alrighty, so our first Jeff Daniels movie that I picked, the year is 1990. And if you thought that you were ever going to not be afraid of spiders, this movie was going to totally change your mind. It is 1990's Arachnophobia, where he plays Dr. Ross Jennings. How much do you remember about this movie?
I remember I remember John Goodman being the best thing in that movie as the Exterminator.
Yes. He was fantastic.
And I remember seeing the preview and going, oh, John Goodman's like the lead in this. And he wasn't the lead. It was Jeff Daniels actually was the lead. He was just like the comic relief. It was amazing. Spiders don't scare me that much, so it was kind of fun to watch. But definitely a movie that if you hate spiders, don't watch it. Like, don't even tempt.
Oh, I was what, 11 years old or something when this movie came out,
Ouch.
10 years old. Like, that movie scared the living hell out of me because I wasn't super scared of spiders, but that one kind of made me go, you know what? I kind of don't like them. And my daughters have asked to watch the movie because they've heard about it, and I'm just so hesitant to show them because, like, listen, I don't want to deal with this.
Yeah, they'll be in your bed sleeping all night long for the next week.
Right, exactly. So for me, I'll go first. I don't remember much about the quality of the movie. It's been a movie I haven't seen in probably 20 years. So it's going to be hard for me to gauge how good it was, but I can't imagine. This was probably a campy, cheesy, not really a horror movie, but kind of in that vein. This is before horror movies were getting good scores. So I'm going to say 70.
70. Okay, I'll keep track. I'm going to it's really hard to rate these movies after they've been out for a while and then they're added to like a site like Rotten Tomatoes, because then the site's already seeing what happened to the movie. Like Rocky Horror Picture Show came out right now and was on Rotten Tomatoes. It would suck really, really bad, but since it's got this huge cult following, it might have a little bit better rating.
Right.
Kind of
yeah, you do have to kind of take that into consideration.
Yeah, kind of like this movie. So I think this one's probably going to get a little bit better since John Goodman is such a huge actor, and then Jeff Daniels is in it as a lead, and then the movie's just like you said, it is campy, but it was one of the first, funny-ish type like horror movies that came out around that time. So I'm going to say a little higher. I'm going to go with about an 83.
Okay, 83. Next up, so a 70 and an 83. Next up, and I put this one on there because we watched it just the other night. So this one is fresh in my mind.
Okay.
My daughters we tried to have movie night where we show our kids like different movies throughout history, because we watch, a lot of movies from the 20s and 30s and 40s. And we want our kids to be exposed to that. But then we also watch stuff from the 90s and the 2000s and all this. And so we have like a movie night once a week.
Okay.
And we try and mix it up. And so this one I said, well, let's watch kind of like an adventure, like something exciting. And I said, Audrey, pick a decade. And she goes, the 90s. And I said, well, all right. Monique and I were talking, and we came up with this movie from 1994 featuring Jeff Daniels, Keanu Reeves, and Sandra Bullock with a cameo by Dennis Hopper, and the movie is Speed. If this bus gets over 50 miles an hour, it's armed, and then if it goes below, it explodes.
Pop quiz.
Pop quiz, hot shot.
Remember? That's the very beginning when
what do you do? Pop quiz. You shoot the hostage, and then he shoots Jeff Daniels. And you know what? This movie actually holds up pretty well. It on a rewatch, because like I said, I literally watched it like 4 nights ago. It was still, even though obviously you know what's going to happen. I even remembered a lot of the lines as they were about to be.
Yeah, they're so cheesy.
Hey, the cops don't want us to die because if we do, they'll have to take a pay cut because we pay their salary. All of those lines. But it held up really well. It was still very exciting and it was still fun, and you kind of realize that. Keanu Reeves at the time was known as the guy from Bill and Ted's, and he was not really taken seriously. This is before The Matrix, and this is before like he did all of these amazing action movies like John Wick and all that. So watching it again, going, you know what? Like going back, I could see how you could see Keanu Reeves as a legitimate kind of like action thriller star. When at the time I remember it was like Keanu Reeves in this movie, like what the hell is he getting this kind of a role for? But it turns out he was perfect for it.
Yeah, no, it worked out. He definitely turned into a John Wick, that's for damn sure. But this movie, this also is very early Sandra Bullock, like right after Demolition Man.
It was also, I think, The Net
before
came
The
out
Net
that same year.
Yeah, before The Net,
maybe.
Because this was kind of like she got the role but wasn't the lead but did really well. I don't know how well because she did do Speed 2, which was just the same thing but a boat, which I thought was
horrible
a really...
movie, by the way. Horrible movie. Best decision Keanu Reeves ever made was to not come back and do a sequel to Speed, which is amazing because that movie really kind of, I mean, I don't want to say made him a star because he was a star before that, but that launched his career as this action everyday man kind of a thing. And you would think if they're like, guys, this made like a gazillion dollars, let's film another one, he would have been like, yeah, let's go for it. What, Sandra's coming back? Sure, let's go for it. And instead he was like, no, I'm going to pass. And it turned out great decision.
Yeah, he was probably filming The Matrix around that time anyway, so it's probably a great decision. But yeah, you're right. I think this was the movie that made Keanu Reeves be perceived as an adult actor. It was past the Bill and Ted, definitely. So I'm going to go first with the rating on this one. I'm going to say, like you said, it's a good watch, but I don't think it did. I don't think it's going to have huge ratings for the. I'm just going to go I'm going to go 80.
I'm thinking right there along with you. I think this one was probably pretty well liked because, like I said, it was a thriller and it was executed well and done well and all that. I'm going to go slightly higher than you. I'm going to say 83.
Okay. And it had a huge cast, so that's a big thing to think about, too. Sandra Bullock, even though she wasn't big yet, she was coming up. Keanu Reeves, Bill and Ted, like you said, Jeff Daniels, Gene Hackman.
Yeah,
it was a big
cast. There's a lot of big names in there, and it was. I think it's going to hold up pretty well, and I actually really enjoyed the watch. Next up is a movie that wasn't as big of a hit, but was an interesting movie with their use of black and white mixed with color, a story about a family who kind of goes back to a different town and a different time. The movie is 1998's Pleasantville. Did you remember this movie?
That has Spider-Man in it.
Oh my gosh. And just Reese Witherspoon looking phenomenal. I mean, this is like Reese Witherspoon at like 21, 22 years old, just looking stunning in this movie.
Right after Cruel Intentions, and mind you, yes,
my goodness.
A whole lot of yes. But it also had William H. Macy in it, and Don Knotts, oddly enough, is in. Oh, that's who I was thinking.
Don
of.
Knotts had
Paul Walker.
Don
Paul
Knotts
Walker
had he played like the guy that was getting him back and forth in between these two realms. The other thing I remember about this movie is the wife is kind of not really pleased. Like she's trying to find out how to be happy and all that. And I remember she sits in a bathtub and I think she masturbates, and then that makes all the flowers turn into color.
Oh,
so
I don't remember that.
Like when so everything's in black and white for everyone, but when they discover they're like that spark in them, everything becomes color. And so certain people can see color and others people can't. And the Reese Witherspoon, makes out with guys in a car and she sees everything turn color and all this kind of stuff. And everyone's seeing this color and people are saying, wow, it's absurd that you're using this color. And Tobey Maguire sees it and the dad doesn't see it, played by Jeff Daniels. And I remember the wife, she's kind of unpleased in her life and doesn't know what's going on. And she starts masturbating and then she's looking out the window and she sees like the flowers on the trees turn color. And that's literally what triggers her to see color. It's like, wow. Okay, then. Well done.
So
that must have been one hell of an orgasm.
So this is the next movie you're watching with your little girls?
Absolutely. It's on tonight.
You're like, Spider-Man's in this one, honey, and that whore from Cruel Intentions.
Now pay attention. Masturbation causes you to see colors.
And you'll go to hell.
And you'll go to hell. I'll go first on this one. Right. I remember this movie fondly because 1998, I was a senior in high school, and I think I remember taking a date to this movie. And I remember the movie being fun and interesting, and I think I've only seen it one time since then. There's some big stars in it. You mentioned William H. Macy. I think this movie had a lot of social commentary, which always bumps it up a few points. So I'm going to say rate at an 80.
I'm going to say lower than that just because there was a lot about this movie that took away from the actual story. Like, you had to pay attention because of the color, the way it went back and forth, and you had to, like, understand things while they were still talking, and it made it hard to kind of keep up with the movie in times. So I'm going to go a little lower. I'm going to say like a 77.
77. All right.
What'd you say?
Final movie. I said 80. All right. So our final movie. For those of you who think that it's just a recent occurrence that Disney likes to remake their classics, I would like to direct you to this movie from 1996 where Jeff Daniel plays, what's his name, Roger.
Yep.
And the movie is 101 Dalmatians, the remake.
Oh, I won't even go into anything about this. Like a 25 is probably what I'll give it.
Yeah. So this is but here you go. You got Glenn Close as Cruella de Vil.
Nope.
You got Hugh Laurie later on to play Dr. House and everything. He was like the bad guy that's stealing the dogs, and Jeff Daniels as Roger. Yeah, there's no way this movie is good. I what did you say? 12?
Yeah, I said 25.
Okay, 25. I'm right there with you. I'm gonna say like a 35.
35.
All right. So those are our 4 movies. We had Arachnophobia from 1990, Speed 1994, Pleasantville, and 101 Dalmatians. Now it's time for the scores. Arachnophobia. Remind me of our scores. What did I pick? What did you pick?
Eric picked a 70. I picked an 83.
The score, according to critics, very highly rated. This is a 92, which kind of makes me want to go back and watch Arachnophobia again, because a 92, maybe it is better than I kind of remember it.
Yeah, I might have to watch that after Pleasantville.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. I got you all hot and bothered for Pleasantville.
So it's 92. You were 22 off. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we can't all be winners. So in the movie Speed, I know our scores were pretty close to what we picked. What did I pick? What did you pick?
You picked 83. I had 80.
All right. The actual score from critics is a 94. And honestly, I could see it. It delivered on everything you wanted it to deliver on, right? Like,
yeah.
It was action, it was fun, it had humor, it was adventure, it was a cool story, it was a great, it was fun, right? And I'm like, you know what? I can see it being over 90, so that makes sense.
And I think it was a summer blockbuster back then too. So
yeah, it was. It was a big hit. It was a really big hit.
Yeah.
Next up, Pleasantville. I think I had an 80 and you had a 77.
Yep.
If I remember correctly. The actual movie score, we were pretty close. The actual score is an 85, which again means that this was probably a pretty decent movie and is maybe worth a rewatch. I just won't be rewatching it with my kids.
I will.
And then finally, your kids are a little older. 101 Dalmatians, this horrible Disney remake, which it's funny though, because we do think of Disney as, you're bastardizing all your classics by remaking them. It's like you were remaking them in the 90s. Like, everyone has such a short memory but they've always done this. So 101 Dalmatians, the new stuff they remake has been pretty good. This was not good. I had a 25. No, I had a 35 and you had a 25, right?
Yes. Yep.
The actual score is a 42, and from what I remember, that might be being generous.
Yeah, no, that movie wasn't really translated into live action very well, especially back then when the CGI was not even really relevant a whole lot.
Oh, it wasn't even close.
Yeah,
right. It wasn't even close. Right.
So they're throwing dogs out there and stuff. I mean, it was just dogs. They were just a bunch of dogs. They had to actually get dogs to run around. They used actual dogs. Yeah, I do. Hold on. All right, I won by 6. 7.
Oh, man, that was a close one. That was a real close one.
Yeah, I was off by 47. You were off by 55.
All righty. Well, to end our day today, let's do a little SMRT.
I am too smart. I am too smart. SMRT. I mean SMART.
Okay, SMRT is our dumb people doing dumb things. Our SMRT person of the day is, I don't know if you've heard this story. It just came out. Cleveland Browns player Greg Robinson has been arrested for possessing 157 pounds of marijuana in a rental car. And of course, what did he do to draw attention to himself? He was speeding at over 120 miles an hour in the car that was filled with 157 pounds of marijuana with a street value of about $150,000.
Holy cow.
The Cleveland Browns just keep winning and winning and winning.
You know what, though? He'll probably get slapped on the wrist and he'll be able to play next year because
that was the first thing I thought of. Yeah.
Yeah. It won't be nothing because it's going to be legal in that city or state or wherever it was soon. So,
but even still, even if it's legal, I still think they have rules on selling with intent or, I mean, come on. First of all, you're a rich athlete. Even if you are the lowest paid athlete, you still, I think, make like $400,000 a year. And that's if you're like making the minimum wage, the equivalent of minimum wage. I've looked this guy up. He's been in the league for a few years. Yeah. So the odds of him only making 400 and that, and like, that's it. And he's got to like, oh no, I need to do something to secure for my family or whatever. No. I'm guessing he's probably made $4, $5, $6 million in his career. He's like, I'm going to start smuggling marijuana in a rental car and I'm going to drive really fast. There's a reason he's our SMRT guy, because that is just that's pretty pathetic, actually.
That is
like,
super
I don't
pathetic.
even mind that the guy was selling it, but come on, that's pathetic.
It's so pathetic. Why was he only going around 100 miles an hour? Shouldn't he have been going at least 150, 160 in that car? Like, come on.
Right, almost like he failed. Like, come on, dude. Like, you know what it was? He probably was trying to go 150, but all the weight of that 157 pounds of marijuana slowed the car down.
Right, but I mean, if you think about it, let's be honest. If you were rich, you had a house, and you like wine, you like beer, you'd have a bunch of wine and beer on hand, so you'd never run out, right?
Never run out.
This is that guy's problem. He needed it.
He was buying his like 8-year supply of marijuana. He's like, I'm just going to have it all right now.
He said the insurance keeps changing so much, I'm going to get my lifetime supply of my glaucoma medicine, and I'm going to take it across town at 100 miles an hour just so I know it's real, and I'm going to go over here.
He gets pulled over by the cops. Sir, what's up with this 150 pounds of marijuana? Well, officer, I have really bad glaucoma.
Yeah. He didn't know. He's like, well, I have a prescription right here. Can you imagine the policeman going, this is for a 30-day supply? He'd be like, yeah, I know, huh?
As I said, yeah, well, it was 160 pounds, but I smoked 3 pounds of it before I got in the car.
Actually, I've been smoking it while you're actually pulling me over.
I have it as a suppository. It's in my ass right now.
Oh, ouch. Oh,
I got one more quick one that I want to do because this one just made me smile. A police chief stripped of his duties, disrobes, and walks home in a storm in his underwear. In New Hampshire, the police chief of a small New Hampshire town took it literally when he was stripped of his duties at a local board meeting, disrobing to his underwear and walking out in a snowstorm. Richard Lee has been the chief in this small town of Croydon, New Hampshire, for over 30 years. On Tuesday night, the 3-member board voted to eliminate this one-man department. So he was the chief of police, but he was also the only police officer in this town.
Wow.
Right? Which, it's funny, if you're the only officer, I'd be like, well, then I need to be called chief of police, right? But he's been there for 30 years. They elected to instead move their coverage to the New Hampshire State Police instead of having a local police force. Lee, who was at the meeting, was told to turn in his key to his cruiser, his guns, and his uniform. Upon hearing this, he smiled. The office smiled at town officials and took off his clothes in front of the board. And this is his quote. I gave them my uniform shirt. I gave them my turtleneck. I gave them my ballistic vest. I sat down on the chair. I took off my boots. I took off my pants. I put those over the chair and put my boots back on and walked out the door and gave him the finger. He said he didn't have any spare clothes or a ride home, so he walked 1.5 miles home in a snowstorm just to prove a point. I kind of actually like this guy, to be honest with you.
So then the cell phone must have been theirs too.
Because he couldn't call anyone.
Why wouldn't you call someone to come pick you up, you idiot? No wonder you're getting fired. You should have been a taxi driver or something, you moron.
But, you're the only cop in a town. The cops probably the city's probably doing the right thing, saying we got to trim some budget. We're probably paying this guy, over $100,000 a year to be the only cop in the small town. We could just have the state police come and service the calls and we'll eliminate this position. But I also see it from this guy's point of view. He's like, listen, man, I've been doing this for 30 years. This is how you're going to send me off. And they're telling you to turn everything in immediately. He's like, oh, I'll turn it in immediately. I'll turn it in right now. I'm walking out of here with nothing but my undies.
Can you imagine being the only cop in a town and how corrupt you would be?
Oh, I would be. I mean, I'll openly admit it. I would be a corrupt son of a bitch. I mean, I mean, there's no doubt about it in my mind. I would be a dirty, dirty, dirty cop.
Like, who are they going to tell, my boss? No, because I'm my boss.
That's when you do that thing where you pretend to like go in the back room. Yeah, let me go check. No, the boss says everything's fine, so shut up.
Oh, by the way, I just found out he was only making $18.76 an hour.
No.
Yep, it said the town paid between $40 to $50 a year for the police department, which included his $18.76 hourly wage.
Wow, you're the chief of police, and you're making what someone would make like.
That's the problem. He's not the chief of police. He's the police. He's not even the chief. He's the police. He's the secretary. He's 911.
Yeah, when NWA like saying about fuck the police, they're like fuck that guy because he is the police.
And let's be real, his name's Richard Lee. His name's Dick Lee. Like
Dick Lee.
Of course you're gonna get fired because that's not even a real name. You don't even have a last name. That's just a first and a middle name, and then the first name's really not a name. Like, come on,
How
people.
do you think it went? The school board, the board who was watching him undress. Do you think there was kind of, because remember, this is a small town, so this is probably if this happened in L.A., we'd be like, oh look, a guy walking naked, whatever, who cares?
Yeah, right.
But in like this small tiny town, did people drive by and go, Officer Lee, what?
No, apparently
no
not. Apparently not. He walked the whole way. But it is a small town.
Snowstorm.
It is a small town, so nobody was probably out driving. For one, they were all leaving the town meeting, which just fired him.
Yeah, they were probably all at the town meeting. You're right. It's like in The Simpsons where whenever they're having a town meeting, the entire town's there.
Yeah.
It's probably that exact thing. Like all 400 residents were there, and they're just like, oh, there goes Officer Lee going crazy again. Dick Lee is gonna. Oh my God, he's going all the way. I'm really hoping that the underwear was also city issued, so he just had to go completely like, oh, I'll turn in everything.
I can only imagine though if he's like sitting there thinking about doing it, if the thought of, God, did I wear clean underwear today? Whoever went through his mind.
Like that day that my mother told me would come is finally here, and I'm so glad I put on clean underwear. Or he starts doing it, he starts disrobing it, and he's doing this big gesture, and he's about to take off in his pants, and then he goes, oh no, I did fart rather hard earlier, and there's a small chance that a little bit came out like a popcorn fart. Or
he's like, did I wear underwear today? Oh, I shouldn't try.
We're about to find out.
My sister's the head of the board. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly. All right, everybody. Well, that wraps it up for this week. Remember to visit This Is Funner, where you could find out all the wonderful shows that Chris puts together, as well as this one. And remember to rate, review, and subscribe, and follow us on Twitter.
Yeah, follow me, Chris_Donovan, and you can follow him at Sinatra's Rat Pack. He has books online, too. You can go to thisisfunner.com, go all the way to the bottom, and click on the Go To Full site, and then you can click on his books and buy them. They're great for end tables, holding them up, and firewood. So I recommend it for sure.
Very, very good for fire. I purposely made them extra flammable.
Yeah, it is called cigarettes and coffee or whatever.
Well, a little known fact, Quentin Tarantino was originally going to use my book in Inglourious Bastards when he was burning down the theater because of how flammable my book was. But then he thought it didn't really fit with the theme of the movie, so he went with nitrate film instead. But little known fact, my book was going to be featured.
You almost made it.
Almost. All right, everybody. I will see you whenever I see you. If not, go screw yourselves. Don't care.
Guys. Catch you later.
The hip hop, you don't stop. Rock it out, baby, bubba to the boogity bang bang, the boogie to the boogity beat. I say I can't wait to the end of the week when I rap it to the rhythm of a groovy beat. An attempt to raise your body heat or just blow your mind so with that you can't speak or do a thing but a rock and shuffle your feet and later change up to a dance called the freak. And when you finally do come into your rhythmic beat, rest a little while so you don't get weak. I know a man in Hank, he has more rhymes than a serious bank, so come on Hank, I'll sing that song to the rhythm of the boogie to bang bang the bomb.
When I'm imp the dimp, the ladies pimp, the women fight for my delight, but I'm the grand master with the 3 MC
thieves that shop the house for the young ladies, and when you come inside into the front